Good afternoon. Give me one moment, please. All right, looks like we are live. Good afternoon. Carol Buckalew with Inky Stampers. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. And I am continuing to have issues with my camera view. Let me see if I can just straighten it up just a tiny bit. I have this wide angle view and I'm not exactly sure what's going on. It started last week on Facebook and I'm not real sure why that's happening. Hi, Faith. Thanks so much for joining. I am trying to get my camera straightened out here a little bit. Nope, I always do the wrong way. My camera view is super wide, and I don't know why. I really don't know what's going on with it, but it is what it is. So I have a fun fold card for you today. It is a Z fold, and it is created with designer series paper. And I have used several products. Hi, Mary. Thanks for joining. I have used the Flowers of the Beauty bundle and the Unbounded Love bundle for the sentiments. And these are the dies. These are beautiful, beautiful sets. And I have also used the deckled rectangles. And for the designer series paper, I have used the Unbounded Beauty 12 by 12 designer series paper. All right, so let me just get situated. I'm going to set my card aside here. So basically, I have a piece of designer series paper. It is two-sided. Hey, Karen, thanks for joining. And this paper measures 11 3/4 inches by 5 1/4 inches. And I am going to grab my scoring board here. Oh, you ordered the sentiments and dies yesterday. You're going to really enjoy them because they are quite nice. It's a nice set. So on the long side of my paper here, let me get my scoreboard flat. So the 11 3/4 inch side, I am going to score first at 1 3/4, 4 3/4, and 7 3/4. I just want to mention that with designer series paper, it is not as thick as cardstock. And so when you are scoring and burnishing these score lines, you want to take care that you don't damage the paper. And you can do that easily with designer series paper. So just have a light hand when you're scoring. So we're going to score at 1 3/4. And I'm just being very gentle. And then at 4 3/4. And then 7 3/4. So just the 3 score lines, and that should do it. And I know that it's hard to see those score lines here, but you'll see them in just a second. So let me see here. So the first fold is a valley fold. Yep. I had to think about it there for a second. So valley fold. And you want to make sure that you're lining up the edges of your paper. And let me just grab my boom folder. Forgot to get that out. And I'm just going to just nice and gently crease that paper. And then the next score line is a mountain fold. And again, you want to make sure that you're lining up those edges so that you have a nice even card base. And we'll go ahead and give that a burnish. And then the next one is a valley fold. And I'm just going to unfold that just so I can make sure my edges are straight. Kind of give it a press there with my hand first. I'm having trouble seeing my edges there. Okay. All right, there we go. So this folds is actually an accordion fold, right? So this card can be created into a Z fold or an accordion fold. And I'm going to just grab my pieces out here. Bear with me. So if you wanted this to be an accordion fold, you would leave this DSP just like it is. If you wanted this card to be a Z fold, and which is what we're doing today, I'm going to adhere this piece down to this next panel, and then it becomes you can see it'll become a Z fold. And then this whole thing is going to sit onto a peach pie mat, which is 5 3/8 by 4 1/8. And then that whole unit will sit on top of the card base, which is 5 1/2 by 4 1/4 inches. So just like that. So let me get my glue here, and we'll go ahead and get our card base glued up. So we are, again, we're making this a Z fold just by adhering down the 1 3/4 inch panel, that very first fold on the card. And we'll get it glued down. Just like that. Super easy. And now you can see we've got the Z fold. Yeah, these new in colors, these are, this card is in our 2024 to 2026 in colors. And today I'm using Petunia Pop, Pretty in Pink, Peach Pie, and Shy Shamrock. And my card is actually for a color challenge for the Happy Inkin' Thursday block up, which is tomorrow. So you'll be able to grab the instructions and all the measurements for this card on my blog for the hop tomorrow. Yeah, and this Unbounded Beauty DSP is the bomb. I think I'm going to need some more because it's just beautiful, and I've used quite a bit of it up. And the colors, like the new in colors, just really go well together. They just really, the only color, I guess there were 2 colors I didn't use, Berry Burst and Summer Splash. So I'm just looking for that equal reveal on all sides here. And we'll just get our DSP, our matted DSP here, adhere to our card base. Just like that. Alrighty. Okay. Well, let's do a little bit of stamping. Cap my glue up here so it doesn't dry out. Oh, before I do that, there's one thing I want to do. I'm going to bring in some scrap paper for my stamping. I used a bit of the white diagonal trim on this card. It's sitting under the sentiment here, and I colored it with a Petunia Pop Stampin' Blend. So you can't color your ribbon with regular Stampin' Right markers, but you can definitely use the Stampin' Blends. So I am just going to cut a piece here. I don't need a super long piece, and I can definitely trim my ends here when I'm done, which I will do. But let me get this colored because it does take a bit for that ribbon to dry. So I'm going to grab my tweezers there. So you definitely want to do this on a protected work surface. And I think I'm using the dark shade, of Petunia Pop. And I just want that ink to saturate into that ribbon nicely. And I'm going to give it a flip over here and get the back side. And I'm leaving a little white end so I don't get my fingers all dirty. And get ink all over myself, which I probably will end up getting ink on myself anyway. But so we're going to just let that ribbon dry here for a minute. And just get it out of the way. And I think I managed not to get ink on me. and then we're going to do a little bit of stamping. So for my outside sentiment, let me grab my, I've got some little pre-cut pieces here for my card. I've got this little sentiment label, and it's in 2 pieces. So I've cut the sentiment label twice, once from white cardstock and once from Petunia Pop cardstock. So these are the Unbounded Love dies. In this die set, there are several dies that will cut both an insert and a frame. And this is one of them, so I've used this small rectangular die, and that cuts the frame and the inside. This rectangular die with kind of the fancy corners also cuts a frame and insert. And this one cuts the 2 pieces, and so does this one. So you can see, you know, you've got quite a selection of sentiment labels in this set. And so just really versatile, great set to have. The sentiments are awesome as well. And I think I've showcased those before. So I'm going to go ahead and I've got a ton of stamps lined up here. So let me find my stamps and grab my ink. And I want to stamp this outside sentiment in Petunia Pop. And the outside sentiment is simply going to say friend. And see if we can't get it fit on this tiny little label and get it somewhat straight. See how we do. Okay, that looks pretty good. And let me see here, do I need, okay, I also need to do my inside panel. And just to mention, so I did use the deckled rectangles. I've got a panel that will sit on the outside of our card and a panel that will sit on the inside of the card. And you want to pay attention because when we adhere the panel on the outside of the card, we want that panel to hide the inside panel. Because these are deckled rectangles, you want to just kind of keep in mind where the top of your card is. So I can see kind of by the little corner, it may be hard for you to see, but the corner kind of flares out. So I'm going to call that my top. And just be mindful of that when you're stamping. Set that one aside here for just a moment. And I'm going to look for my happy birthday sentiment. So this is the inside panel. And we're going to just simply stamp happy birthday. And right about there. And this is such a beautiful font. And yes, Faith, I agree. I love the photopolymer also. And I think, okay, I've got a bit more stamping to do with the Petunia Pop. Let's go to, you know what, I'm going to close it just to be safe, just to make sure I don't get my little fingers in it. Let's finish stamping here the inside panel. And this is Shy Shamrock, and another beautiful color, new ink color. I need to clean my stamp off here. Give me a second so I don't get ink on me. I've got 2 stamps mounted on this little block because I ran out of blocks. So that is the fill on, whoops, that's not the one I want. Grab the right flower here. Let me see here. Okay, this is the one I want. So the Flowers of Beauty has 2-step stamps. And so what that means is there's a detailed image and then there's a fill image. I'm going to first stamp the detailed image in Shy Shamrock, and I'm just going to ink up that a detailed flower, and I want to stamp that right here in the corner of my inside panel. And I'm going to grab my envelope, and we're going to stamp this same leaf image onto the front of the envelope, just like that. And let me grab my cloth here so I can clean that stamp off. All right. And now I'm going to ink, you know, I'm going to remove this stamp because it's just going to get in my way here. So this is the fill image of that same stamp. I am still using Shy Shamrock. I'm going to go ahead and ink that stamp up. I'm going to stamp off once, and then I am going to line this up over my leaves, and fairly easy to line up. And we'll get it stamped off just like that. So that is the inside panel done. Ink it up again and stamp off once. And I'll go ahead and get the fill here on my envelope. And so you can see that they are fairly easy to line up. So very, very easy. All right. Moving along here, I am going to pull in my outside panel. And again, I'm looking to make sure that I've got my tops facing upwards. I do. And I am going to grab, so this is another flower stamp. And this stamp's tiny little multiple flowers. And I'm not going to use the background or the fill on this particular stamp. And I forgot to grab my pretty in pink ink. So let me pull that out. But what I want to do is I want to stamp these second generation stamp, these tiny little flowers all over the front of my panel here. And I just kind of, whoops, that's first generation, stamp off. And then we'll second generation stamp. Sorry about that. Hit my camera, I didn't mean to. And I'm just going to kind of vary. Now, this ink is kind of, the centers are showing up a little darker. And I'm okay with that. It gives it a little variation. But I'm just going to continue to stamp these across. The panel being white, it just kind of seemed like it needed a little something extra. And I love these little delicate flowers. So I thought they'd be real pretty to stamp across the panel. And just second generation for a real nice soft look. And I'm just slightly moving my stamp as I'm moving across here to get this panel covered. And it actually, when you're multiple stamping this image for horizontally like this, they actually fit really well together. So I'm getting nice even coverage of those tiny little flowers. All right. So you may not be able to see it, but I can definitely see that some of those centers are slightly darker. That ink will dry slightly. So I'm not too concerned about that, but that ink in the center will dry later, is what I meant to say. All right, let me set that aside. I'm going to grab a little piece of paper. So I have already pre-stamped and pre-die cut the flowers for the front of my card, but I wanted to share with you how I did those. So I am going to grab my Petunia Pop ink. And again, thank you, Faith. And again, these are two-step stamps. So I've got the large flower image and the small flower image. And so I'm just going to ink that up. First generation stamping with the detail. And I had stamped 2 of those flowers. I'm not going to take the time to die cut these. I think you get the idea. Let me grab the detail image. I also did one of the small. So we'll stamp that. So those were the detailed images. I'm going to go ahead and ink up the fill image for that same flower. And I've got it lined up here on my stamp. So I'm going to ink that up, stamp it off once. And again, these are fairly easy to line up. Just take your time. Give that ink a second to transfer. There we go. And I'll ink it up again, stamp off once. And stamp the fill. And I love that this fill leaves little breaks of light when you stamp it. Let me hold that up to see if you can see it, but you can see the little white spaces it leaves for highlights, which I love. I love that. All right, I'm just looking for the fill for this last flower. This one I think may not be, it's lined up pretty good. So I'm going to ink that up, stamp off once, and then stamp over that detailed image. And that's how easy it is. One more thing for these flowers, there is a little stamen center to stamp in the center. So the stamens are already stamped in Petunia Pop. I wanted them to be just a little bit darker. And so I'm coming in with Tuxedo Black Memento ink. And I'm going to go ahead and stamp those flower centers. Just like that. And again, very easy to line up that stamp. And then there is no stamen center for the small flower. So all I did was I came in with a Stampin' Right marker, or you could use a fine tip black marker. And I just simply, I'm using the brush tip, and I'm just going to dot in. These aren't going to have the long stamens that come out. This is kind of a tiny flower, so I'm just going to dot some stamens in the center of that small flower, if you can see that there. Alrighty. So I think we can start putting our card together. So first thing I'm going to do with my sentiment label, with the frame and the insert, I'm going to flip these over to the back side, and I'm going to fit those together. And I'm going to use some Stampin' Dimensionals cut in half. And very carefully, I'm going to place those dimensionals kind of flat side towards the outer edge, just to hold those pieces together. It does a nice job holding the frame to the label, to the inside label. So we'll get those on there. And I might as well use that one just for the center. So that label is ready to go. And you can see that those dimensionals are holding that together nicely. Okay, this is our inside panel. I've got the correct side facing up. We are going to start arranging our pieces here. So I've got some shamrock leaf fronds, and these are going to kind of fan out. And let me bring my card base in. There's going to be plenty of room, you know, to arrange these. And it's okay if they hang off on the right or left, but you might want to just sit your deckled rectangle on top of your card base, just to make sure you're not going past the edges on the right or left of your card front. You know what I'm going to do here is I am going to go ahead and get this glued down. So let me see here. That's the edge. I don't want the glue on. And I'm only going to apply glue on the left side of this panel. And I'm going to give myself plenty of space here to make sure that, you know, you don't want to glue your card closed. So I've only applied glue on the back left side of this panel. And I'm going to go ahead and center this up as best I can from top to bottom and left to right. And give that a good smash down. Let me take a look, make sure that I've gotten that pretty straight. I'm going to pull it over just a little bit here. All right, I think that's fairly centered. Doesn't need to be exact. And I'm going to go ahead and glue down my shamrock leaves here. So I hope everybody's doing okay today. We are rainy here in Delaware. Just started raining. It's been overcast. Yesterday was actually pretty nice. When I glue these leaf fronds down, I want them almost to the bottom center of my front panel here, my deckled rectangle. And again, I'm making sure that that is not going past the edge of our card base. You guys are extremely quiet today. Alrighty, get that one glued down. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to arrange my 106 yesterday, 104. Oh, Faith, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry you have to deal with that. So my flowers, I'm going to just slightly overlap my two large flowers here. And then our little flower is going to go in the front. What I found to be, yeah, that is extreme heat. Good Lord. I guess we can expect that Mary and Karen to be coming our way. So what I'm doing is I'm putting just a tad of glue on the edge of this flower. This one's going to overlap it. And I'm going to actually adhere these flowers together. I'm not adhering them down to my card yet. I just want to adhere those flowers together. I have found it's a little bit easier when you're putting on your dimensionals. I want to pop these up. It's a little bit easier if you just kind of tack these together as one unit and then put your dimensionals on. So flip that over and we'll get some dimensionals on the back here. And I want to keep my dimensionals on these flowers kind of away from the center top here. I can put them anywhere else, but I want to leave room to tuck in those remaining little leaf fronds that I have to put on. And we'll get one there. And whoops. Let's put one right in the center there. And maybe we'll put one down here. Okay, let's get our covers off. And one more. And we will go ahead and put our little flowers right down here at the base. And I am trying to center those left to right on that deckled rectangle, so that looks pretty good. Cap our glue here for a second. And then I've got these little flower or leaf fronds. I'm not sure what you'd like to call them. There are two dies, so the die cuts out one large and one small, and there are two of the dies. So I've got 4 here. I only need 3, so I'm going to put one of those small ones to the side, and we will get these glued onto our card front, put the sentiment label on, and get our inside panel on, and we're done with the card. So Faith, you pretty much only are staying indoors to avoid the heat, I'm sure. I'm going to tuck this just under the flower. And if you use both dies, you can see that I've got 2 long ones that point both ways. That's exactly what I wanted. I wanted them to kind of go off to the sides. So that's handy. Yeah, pretty much when it's that hot, you can only stay inside. It's just way too hot. We did cool down to the mid-80s, however, it's extremely humid outside. And rainy, but we need the rain, so that's good. And that small one's going to kind of go right up the center, like that. Let me get my inside panel on. So, to put the inside panel on so that it is your craft room's comfortable, that's all that matters. So, I want this panel hidden behind the top panel. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of hold those flaps together and open my card. So, I'm not, I'm not pulling this flap out. I'm folding it there at that second score line and opening it that way. My card, for some reason, what happened here? Oh, I see what I'm doing. Good grief, I'm messing up my card base. Don't do like me. And so what I find easiest is I'm going to flip this over, put glue on the back of the inside panel. And let me see here. Did I do that wrong? No, okay. I'm confusing myself. And what I'm going to do is I am going to lay that panel with the glue, glue face up on top of my outside panel edges. And I'm going to very carefully close my card up, and hopefully my inside panel is hidden, and that worked out very well. So, good way to get your panel lined up. I just simply opened the card, put the glue on the back of the inside panel, lined it up here with my edges from the front panel, and then close the back of the card on top of it. So that works out well. And I need to get the glue off my fingers. I did stick my hand in glue. All right, so all we have left is to get our ribbon adhered down. There is a right and wrong side on this ribbon, so you want to make sure and just double check. And I don't need a super long piece, so let me grab my ribbon scissors here, and I'm going to just go ahead and give that a trim. Hopefully I didn't trim it too short. Let me check. That'll work out just fine, I think. I did actually trim it just a tad short, but it'll work. And what I'm going to do is I am going to get a couple of mini glue dots. And I want to put one right there. Kind of fold my ribbon in half and stick that one down. And then I'm going to get one more. And I'm going to just kind of carefully lift that ribbon up and put that glue dot on the back side just so it will be held down like that. And we can go ahead and get the dimensional covers off of our sentiment label, and just about done. Get our sentiment lined up here. There we go. I'm going to snip that just a little bit. All right. I am going to put on a couple of the 2024-2026 color, in color shimmer gems. I think these are currently out of stock. Thank you, Mary. And I'm going to use some of the Petunia Pop. I think they're Petunia Pop. They could be Berry Burst, but I think they're Petunia Pop. And I'm just going to put a few around my card front here. Get a little one maybe to put on, whoops, to put on the sentiment label. There we go, and grab one more small one. And we'll put that one maybe down here. Okay. And all that leaves is the decorating the envelope flat. So we've made a Z-fold with designer series paper that is sitting on top of just a 5.5 by 4 1/4 card base. It is matted, and it makes for a pretty card. So if you're not wanting to use your designer series paper, get it out and give this a try, because really cute idea to use that paper up. So bonus days are going on. There's just about a week left for you to earn $5 coupons for every $50 you spend. Free shipping was yesterday, but Stampin' Up! Was experiencing some problems with their online store, so free shipping has been extended through today, which is awesome. So with a $75 order, you can earn free shipping on your order. That does not count for expedited or special delivery, anything like that. It's just standard shipping. But with a $75 order, you can get free shipping. So that's awesome. If you bump that up to $100, you would earn 2 $5 bonus day coupons. So something to think about. The website, I was out on the website today, and it seemed like not that long ago, and it seemed like maybe it was back to normal. So hopefully there are no further issues, and hopefully you didn't have issues yesterday. But if you were trying to get an order in and there was free shipping, definitely want to come back today, because they did extend that offer. There is also a paper pumpkin sale up to 75% off. Past kits, refills, and add-ons for paper pumpkin. So if you're a paper pumpkin subscriber, you have until July 25th to cash in on that special deal. And I believe some stuff has been selling out on paper pumpkin. So anyway, yeah, you might want to check it out sooner rather than later. So that is our completed card with the Flowers of Beauty bundle, and it makes with the Unbounded Beauty DSP, it makes for a pretty card and a very easy card. This wasn't difficult to put together. I hope everybody has a good day. Thanks so much for joining me. I greatly appreciate it. I will see you back next Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern. Have a great day. Bye-bye.